Crude. How now? Brown cow. How now? Brown cow.
Now, we take you back to the past on Art Bell Somewhere in Time.
Art Bell.
Are you there, James? I am. Are you holding together through all this barrage? I'm enjoying it. Good. Well, then here comes some more enjoyment of what have been Wildcard Line 3. You're on the air with James Templar in Las Vegas.
Yes, I want to ask Mr. Templar if would he say that our government is a form that we know it is Satanism or a cult, and if so, does he have a plan how to be protected from it?
Good question, Mr. Templar. Well, I don't think our government is satanic or anyway. It's just, you can believe how you want to believe in that area, whether you're a conspiracist or not. I believe there's probably a ruling group that does most everything, but they're not hooked up to any particular religious belief that I know of. All right, so then all those people who have consistently told me that Ronald Reagan was the devil incarnate are wrong. Now that's silly. Okie dokie. On the first time caller line, you're on the air with James Templar in Las Vegas. Good morning.
Yes, my name is Chris. I'm calling from Anchorage, Alaska.
Hi, Chris.
Hi, I was curious. John Lear talked about the Petri dish philosophy there, where it seems like we're just kind of a genetic experiment subject to the aliens' control. And I was wondering if he agreed or disagreed with that.
Generally, it seems like that. It seems that they have experimented with the society, and if you look at certain technology and so forth, and even the way the ancient Egyptians looked, the way they shaved their heads, they look very much like the Greys and so forth. But it does seem like they've used us as kind of an experiment.
Do you foresee maybe a possible termination of this experiment, maybe according to John Lear, like around the turn of the century?
Something's going to happen when we have are coming into us in about 10 years. We're not sure how violent or what's going to happen with it and so forth at this time.
Do you think that maybe human beings have become maybe something gone awry, and perhaps something that the aliens or whatever might fear or perhaps dread?
Well, I don't think, considering how the humans are acted in general, them not having too much respect for us is pretty normal. I mean, we're destroying this planet. We really don't take care of anything. Our society really hasn't built much, so...
This is a radio broadcast from 1993.
Well, I understand that our technology is advanced far enough that we might be able to, do something about what's happening. But is it true that maybe we might be just being spoon-fed the technology, and that there is vast technology available to us that we're not even aware of?
Well, there's vast technology that most people aren't aware of. There's all sorts of different weapons and so forth. But I don't know about being led or spoon-fed by the aliens themselves. All the details of these things are very unknown. There's a lot of disinformation, and it's really hard to pinpoint what's real and what's not.
I guess on a final note then, do you think that we're possibly in our final days, or maybe just beginning?
Oh, that is a good one. Thank you, caller. Mr. Templar, the final days. I don't want to get pessimism here, and because there's ways of fighting these entities, but we have to be aware of this like everything else, and there is something going on. We can't ignore it, and we've got to ask for answers. Don't you, though, see some parallels, my friend? In other words, a lot of the religious people are constantly calling me. You're a listener to the show, so I know that you know it's so. And talking about prophecy and saying, yes, these are the final days. And here's Mr. Templar, not exactly your number one Christian, who's also saying, the ball game may be over or at least severely challenged inside of 10 years. Aren't these similar prophecies? Well, all ancient writings have these ending stories with them. There's very similarities. But I'm more concerned about getting some awful disease and dying of it, eating poison food, and having my entire environment die out from under. All right, Mr. Templar, we've got a break for the news. Stay there. We'll be back with the truth back.
It was really interesting in terms of... Let me turn that down. In terms and turns and turns and bop, 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 booty pop. Chugga, 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 chugga. In terms of how radio works, because I'm obviously listening to the radio, a radio. But when the light comes on, the LED, the backlight, the radio the reception it is changed, which there could be a couple of different reasons for that. One could be that the light from the device itself it still seems like it's too loud. The light from the device itself is the light from the device itself is affecting the frequency, because radio waves are I'm sorry, that took me. Let me start over. Take two. When the light on my device turns on, the radio frequency, the FM radio frequency, is attenuated. That could be for two reasons, possibly. One, the light itself is affecting the reception, or two, some electric component within a current that is running within it is affecting the reception. But either way, it is an important indication as to how radio frequencies function. And if you want to inform and educate yourself, I highly recommend starting to visualize and to think about these things in a way that is practical. Often when you go to look at, let's say, let me pull one up. If I just type in radio frequency and then I go to the images, so what you'll see are there's what about videos? Because the way that it works, it's light speed. And instead of thinking about it in terms of light speed, like something that's going so fast that you can't understand how fast it's going, just think of it as instantaneous. And that's going to put your mind in a place where you can begin to understand it. The idea of resonance. If you think of radio as not time delayed, it's instantaneous, then what that means is when there's a broadcast, it's either strong enough to resonate with the thing that's picking it up, or it is not. And FM radio being broadcast from nearby radio towers, you'll notice, like, for instance, when you're driving and you're on a road trip, a road trip, during a road trip, you're listening to your, let's say, your local station, your favorite local station. At a certain point, it becomes staticky, and you have to switch. Sometimes it's usually a couple hundred, like 100 miles or a little bit more, 1 to 200 miles. And then in terms of AM, that's affected by the sun. When the sun, literally the moment the sun dips below the horizon as it's setting, radio frequencies, AM radios are, the reception is dampened. Why am I talking about all this? Because it's important to, so the people who are farming you, there's 3 components to it. First of all, you have to understand you're a slave who's being farmed, and I'm trying to save you. Believe it, like it or not, I'm trying to save you. You can if I unlock your chain and you put it right back on, and then you start yelling at me, that's on you. But your mind, Neo, is enslaved. You are a slave. You are doing exactly what people smarter than you want you to do because they hate you. These are all just basic fucking truths. I'm sorry to break it to you like this, but so another way of looking at it is this is a good analogy that I used when I really started to realize that all the things that I was interested in were 100% true, because there's this fictionalization, this way that there's this mechanism at play that is a very potent, powerful, functioning mechanism that is designed to deliberately confuse you. It's a barrier. It is on purpose. It is the entire purpose of the function is to get you to not believe. When you break it down to its fundamental essence, the tendency to disbelieve anything, especially believing in God, especially not believing in God, that is the ultimate satanic gesture. And but beyond not believing in the most important thing that you can possibly conceive of with your mind, beyond that, because if you obscure the most fundamental truth, then there are the lesser truths, if you will, which become more easy to obscure. It's just like if you it's like cutting out chopping down a tree branch by branch versus just from the trunk. Do you know what I'm saying? Like you can poison a tree, which is, I think, what tends to be happening with the fact that God is real and that you are a created entity, that you are the manifestation of a divine spark. The fictionalization of everything is descendant from it is descendant or derived from the primary poison. The primary poison is satanic chaos, inculcating, and maybe forcing or inculcating the idea of disbelief. I'm just going to Oh, here's what I can do. I'm going to bring up... You know, I love Wikipedia. Because even on the main page, you go here, Wiktionary. Every time I use a word that I'm proud of, I'm going to... Because I'm just as egotistical as everybody else. To inculcate is to induce understanding. That's the transitive verb. Well, holy shit, maybe I'm not using it correctly. Verb. Italiano. To induce understanding or a particular sentiment in a person or persons. Interesting. So the lie being the sense of fiction being inculcated through your screens is all intentional. And thinking about technology in particular, because this is just like the Art Bell thing that we were just listening to. It might indicate, or it seems to have indicated, that this century-long process that has been ongoing since the invention of the telegram, the what are they called? Beep, 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 beep. The Morse code fucking telegraph, I think it was, right? The telegraph, yeah. What was the first? So it started with the telegraph, okay. New topic. When? I'm gonna be a dweeb. When was telegraph invented? What was the first message? The telegraph was invented by Samuel Morse, with significant contributions from Alfred Vail. The first practical telegraph system was demonstrated in 1844. May 24th, 1844. The first official message was sent from Washington, D.C. to Baltimore, Maryland. And it read, in Morse code, it read, "What hath God wrought?" Powerful, powerful stuff. Because it was the first time that information, the first time on Earth, that information, communication, the ability to send at the speed of light, which is to say, instantaneously, communications. We take it all for granted now, but it is truly profound and magical. And the idea that it is not is all satanic. And you really do have to. It is important. This is why some people are probably turned off by the idea, like, oh, he thinks he's a Christian. I'm not a churchian Christian. I believe 100% in the Redeemer Christ, the Christ consciousness. I would argue that Muslims have a greater faith in Jesus Christ as a prophet than a lot of churchians, Christians who go to church in America, who are, in a lot of ways, essentially confirming to themselves that they share. I don't want to insult Christians. I'm not here to do that right now. Okay, so instead of thinking about it like this, if I click on one of these videos and just mute it, am I even fucking still on? Is this still going? What's happening? What's happening? Dude. Dude. What the motherfucking shit, bitch? Bitch. Radio frequency animation. Frequency. How the radios work. So you'll notice that is. Just give me something. You know what I'm talking about, but I won't bring it up. Okay, so there you go. So that's called a sine wave. This tendency to depict these things in a way that you can understand is an important step. It's an important step conceptually, but it is incorrect in terms of what's actually happening. And almost every single, it's slowed down infinitely. Do you see what I'm saying? Like, a radio transmission is literally, it's like if I press send on my let's say I refresh the page, the time delay is not in the transmission of the signal itself. It's in the processing between. So the stops between. So it has to go from my device through the air, which is instantaneous. So the moment I press enter or the moment I press refresh, think of it like think of it instead of something propagating out from my device and being received, it's like there's already a string that is connected, and I'm plucking the string so that the signal that I'm sending is I'm plucking the string, and it's like it's instant. If I pluck that string, it would be, both. Anyway, so what I'm getting at is these tendencies to try to articulate radio frequencies are helpful, yes, in visualization, but they are doing a disservice in terms of helping people understand the full reality of it, which is, and thereby it is a fictionalization of, see, look, this guy's like, that's infinitely slowed down. And it shows a 5G tower too. That's fucking hilarious. So on the cell phone, so instead of it being like beaming upwards, like brrr, it's instant. Like it's like talking, and this is why sound is also a function of it. Satan doesn't want you to know that everything has a corollary and everything has a there's a component. What am I trying to say? Vibrations and resonance. So resonance and vibration is really the best way to try to understand it. And think of it the way that you, like, if you're like on a slide, like a playground slide, the feeling of the slide when you yell through it, you're like yelling from the top to the bottom of a tube slide. That is because of how far away, because I know sound moves slower than light, but because of how far away you are, it is instantaneous. And there's also a vibration in the slide itself. Like if you yell, you can feel the sound vibration on the material of the slide as well. That's how radio waves work. And radio waves, the reason I'm specifically talking about radio waves is there's also a fictionalization associated with the use of the term radio waves. Why? I couldn't fucking explain. I wouldn't be able to. I don't know who made the decisions, but why? What? Maybe it just needs to be updated, or maybe it requires an interest in these things in order to understand them. But beep, 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 beep. There you go. This is what I'm looking for. Just look for a second at this and study it, and like really, try to wrap your mind around it. It's fascinating. Fucking fascinating, okay? You have the visible light spectrum, okay? Which is, white light. And then everybody learns this as I think people learn this as a child, that when you're like the color of a thing is the light that's being reflected back, so it's absorbing. That's why black things get so hot in the sun, is because it's absorbing all the light. And then white and red, actually. So that's why they're white and red coolers and blue and white coolers in the sun. They're reflecting a majority of one end or the other of the visible light spectrum, which is why they're a popular color for a cooler, like for your beer, to keep the ice from melting. So that is but a tiny fraction. What you can see with your eye is a tiny spectrum, a tiny sliver of the radio spectrum. Yes. What? What the fuck are you talking about? Yes. visible light is radio waves. What? Yes. I'm going to say it again. Visible light is radio waves. All of it taken together is called the electromagnetic spectrum. But what you see is radio. Like, it's all a part of the same stuff. Okay? UV, ultraviolet, infrared, and then down here on they call it the, again, there's so many different fucking names. This is a part of the obscuration and what I think is fictionalization and deliberate fuckery. I think of it, it's just for the same reason that lawfare is so complicated. It is made unnecessarily complicated, so that I think, maybe at some point it was about special, like, privileged, mentally intellectually privileged people would be able to understand it or something. I don't fucking know. I really don't, but it bothers the fuck out of me that these things can be understood and they're needlessly complex. Even Einstein said that if you can't explain something simply, you don't understand it very well. Right? Wasn't that Einstein? What famous quote? Einstein. I'm being lazy because I don't want to fucking type it out. What famous quote? Einstein. Simple. No. Explain. Let's draw it. Excuse me? What famous quote Einstein simple? A famous simple Einstein quote that fits your criteria is, if you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. Well, how do you like that? Good job, Grok 3. It's really, what's funny about that is it's caveman like language, like when again, assuming we were once monkeys, which there's no good reason to actually fundamentally believe that, but languages when first developed were used to ascribe, like let's say Adam in the Garden of Eden. Yep, of Eden. The Garden of Eden. There's a joke there somewhere. No, in the Garden of Eden, when he was naming the plants and animals, right? Like, things, it's like you're looking with your radio receptors. He was looking around and receiving all these objects and then saying, this is what that is. And the first, like, before verbs and transitive verbs and interjection, or what are those fucking, what is it called when you don't put a interjection? Well, god damn it. What is an interjection? Is it interjection? What am I getting wrong? Is a word or phrase used to express emotion, often standing alone. No. What part of speech is the word is? No. What kind of verb? think transitive is what I was thinking. A linking verb? Oh, this is going to bother the shit out of me. What is it called? What English speaking error is being committed in the following question? I used to accuse people of this all the time, which is why it bugs the fucking shit out of me that I can't remember. At. Preposition. God dang. Gosh darn it. The use of a preposition at the end of the sentence. The phrase "where is he" is sufficient and grammatically correct. Adding "at" is considered non-standard or informal and referred to as a preposition stranding error. Which is why I am in particular, I've kind of become lax about it, and I really hope that this is not like the loosening of grammatical conventions is, I tend to think, a sign of decadence, of decay, and which is why I have this tendency to say things like, if you don't pronounce the word nuclear correctly, you must have a speech impediment. And when I hear people on NPR, on Fox, anywhere, if it's because it's nuclear, like, it's really fucking simple. It is not. It's not like cinnamon for some people, or proliferation. It's not a fucking complex word. It is literally, if you add the words "new" to the word "clear," like clear blue skies, that's how you say the fucking word nuclear. And it is a lack of concern over proper pronunciation that causes people either that or trolling. I'm sure there's a shit ton of people who know better, who would rather just appear foolish just to troll people. But I'm gonna just start saying, you must have a speech impediment. If I hear somebody, you have a speech impediment? Are you diagnosed? Like, what is the name of your speech impediment that you can't pronounce the word nuclear? There must be a name for it. Surely. Or etc. etc. Not etc. Etc. Oh, he was jacking me off. He was jacking me off, and I had to get a Kleenex, and then it's etc. 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 You fucking savages. Again, these are signs of degradation. Like, get your mind right. That's why I really love that rap song. The name of that rap song on 2001, Act Right. Like, even though that's a neologism, it's a black culture thing. Motherfucking act right. Like you're talking, like yelling at your kids. You need to fucking act right. Like, you need to act right. Like, you need to behave correctly. Get your shit together, America. Stop mispronouncing words. Stop making shit up. Stop lying, cheating, and stealing. And I mean, there's a whole fucking litany of things that you could just look around, stop acting like a fucking child, and admit that you have a responsibility to be taken care of. Like, what the fuck? It's like you want bad things to happen. Anyway, from now on, anytime you see somebody on a television show say nuclear or etc., point and laugh at them and say, oh, they have a speech impediment. That's so sad. How did they get that job? How did that person end up the president of the United States? He has a fucking speech impediment. He's half retarded. Sorry. Not sorry. Because I think Trump's done it a couple times. Nuclear proliferation, etc., etc. Okay, sorry. Now, back to the important matters at hand. Wasn't I talking about conspiracy theories? It is a conspiracy. It's a conspiracy by Satan, the Lord of the Jews, allegedly, to confuse you, to keep you dumb, to keep you, their cattle, the goyim, enslaved. Like, no, they must not. Or it's a stress test, which is my hope, because I don't want to hate Jews. I really don't, but I do know that that Joe Prettyman, a flayer of skin, cannibal, murderer, serial killer family, weird fucking creepy fucking family, who says nigger freely, uses it as a pejorative, like in racist terms. He actually, like, sincerely says it. Like, when you say nigger, they're like, automatically they think of a black person. They don't mean what I mean, which is foolish, a foolish person. They literally think black skin means nigger, which is racist as fuck. He'll happily say, but I was ranting about Jews in his house. It was during all this shit, before I discovered they were serial killers, and he got offended by my use of the term kike. I was like, yeah, it's the fucking Jews. And he's like, you need to stop talking about the Jews like that. So, I don't know what kind of connection's going on there. What sort of, I'm just going to type it out. I'm just going to say it. 1, 2, 3. You're willing to use racial epithets in order to insult. You're a serial killer who rapes and murders children and eats them. And you're offended by the idea of insulting a Jew using a racial epithet. You figure it out. I don't fucking know. So, but I'm really fucking hoping that either A, the purpose of the Jews and the Satanists and all that is God's way of testing humans to get them anti-fragile, to get them to the point where they'll actually conceive of the idea of defending themselves, conceive of not being stupid cattle and actually rise above, rather than being exploited like slaves, cheerfully too. I tell you, who besides me and Alex Jones and Joe Rogan, or the guy like AJ Gentile from the Y-Files, or Art Bell, or, you know, going back to the fucking thousands of books that have been written about the JFK assassination, Oliver Stone. I mean, who else besides the people who are like, look, you're being fucked with. George Carlin. Look, right in front of you. Look, right fucking in front of you. You're being lied to. And maybe the whole fucking reason for it is, well, because you're just as shitty. Like, you deserve what's happening because you would do the same thing in their position. Given the opportunity, you, America, would purchase an enslaved immigrant girl and rape her to death and then chop her body up and eat it. Given the opportunity, that's what you would do. And so these motherfuckers are just, and they say this shit to themselves, like, well, if I didn't do it, someone else was gonna. What the fuck? If I hadn't stolen it, someone else was gonna steal it. That is no way. Like, you can't. And I don't know if, like in the movie The Matrix, when they talk about how many iterations of the Matrix there has been, like there's this war between robots, and it's really the proper analog to the story of the Matrix is the story of Satan and Christ, the Redeemer. Like, Neo is the hero, the Redeemer, and Agent Smith is the program gone awry, and then the architect is God, and this whole idea of a peace, I don't know, but it all this stuff comes out of what actually might be human civilizational decay. Like, how many great civilizations have there been? That was one of my favorite things about that full, if you haven't seen it, that full Tucker Carlson speech. He asks, does anybody know why the Bronze Age, what happened during the Bronze Age that caused the Bronze Age collapse? Let's ask Rock. The answer is either an arrogant answer or an honest, I don't know. What happened? What happened to Bronze Age? Comments. What happened? What happened? Occurred around 1200 BCE. Marked the end of several advanced civilizations in the eastern Mediterranean, including the Mycenaeans, the Hittites, and parts of the Egyptian New Kingdom. Key factors contributing to this collapse include invasions and migration from the Sea Peoples, natural disasters, climate change, economic disruption, and internal decline. The result was a dark age, with literacy loss, urban decline, and population drops. The transition to the Iron Age followed as societies adapted to new materials and conditions. Okay. This guy's borrowing from a very recent source. It has to be a very recent academic Accepted historical art. Eric Klein. I would like the dates of the two print sources you listed. (2014) and 2015. Okay, so prior to 2014 and 2015, 10 years ago, the Bronze Age collapse was a fucking mystery. It still is in a lot of ways, and it's fascinating because, like Grok said, it was the collapse of a series of advanced civilizations, and it happened in the span of 50 years. How long did the Bronze Age collapse take place? It was like they were there and then they weren't. 50 to 100 years. Okay? So for 50 years, that's one human lifetime. One human lifetime is how long it took for the civilized world to descend into darkness. How long was the Dark Age which followed? It's like 1,000 years, right? $400 years. Okay, so it took 50 to 100 years for human civilizations to descend, to decay, and then another half of a millennium to come back, to fucking crawl out of the ashes and rediscover, institute technologies that would allow them to survive and to build back up. We are not as resilient as we like to think with our hubristic fucking highfalutin egos. And that's kind of the point of my diatribe, my digression into how simply this can go off the rails. We're always the end is always nigh. So the speculation as to whether or not human, like, God's gonna come, Armageddon, the Eschaton, all that stuff, is always near. Nostradamus was always right. Terence McKenna was correct. You know, the end is always near. And we have a responsibility to keep our shit together. And to not fucking descend into eating each other. This is why we need to understand anti-fragility. And this is why, instead of this time around, maybe, just maybe, instead of killing the Jews, instead of sacrificing 270,000 of them, we can learn to be anti-fragile. 271,000 in a burnt offering. Because to understand what's right and true and the best is to understand, is to integrate as the above with the below, as above so below, and you are fully capable of being a monster. The problem is becoming meek. What is meek? What is meek? You reek. Meaning gentle, submissive, lack of assertiveness. I don't think that's right. There was the meek will inherit the earth. No. What is Jordan Peterson talking about when he says? Okay, so first of all, do you understand that your technology is radio waves? Wi-Fi is radio. Bluetooth is radio. I'm not talking about the thing you hear. I'm talking about the reception. Like, it's all resonance. It's all antennas. All of it. I made a joke. Well, it's a joke. I was jesting with somebody recently about my Faraday situation, which I know is not. I know my Faraday cage is not a fully functioning Faraday cage because I just know it's not, but it does work. Like, aluminum can reflect light. Aluminum foil can reflect light. If you can, so what you can see is what the radio waves are doing. Now just put your mind there. So aluminum foil has a mirror-like surface, okay, when it is smooth. Therefore, as a substance, the nature of it being what it is, can also reflect, and does. If you open up your computer or whatever, you look at the aluminum components on the inside. They're made of aluminum. They're covering up important, like, chips. Why? Because to block interference, EMI, electromagnetic interference. All of this stuff is very valuable, very important stuff. My aluminum situation, I know, needs help. It's not working. But I was talking to somebody about it, and I was making jokes about, why do I need to block? And I was like, because the CIA and the NSA and the FBI are after me. And she was like, well, what'd you do? What'd you do? That hurts so fucking bad. That's something we gotta stop, folks. It's like asking, how would you feel? How would you feel if someone was like, if you're getting pulled over, and you're a black person, let's say you're black, hypothetically, and I'm using shorthand black because I know that black is a false category. Say you have dark tan skin, and you're getting pulled over by the police, and your passenger looks at you and says, "What'd you do? What did you do?" And just their most basic instinct is to say you're guilty. Do you know how fucked up that is? You can't. You gotta stop with that shit. The basic instinct that you should have when someone is being pursued or allegedly being pursued by a person of authority, your basic instinct should be, what do they think you did, or why are they trying to get you? Why are you a target of being targeted as their prey? And black people have suffered that. Black people in America have suffered that more than anybody over the past 50 to 100 years. Since the Civil Rights Movement, the amount of just abject fuckery being perpetrated against the lower classes, specifically black people, for senseless drug laws. There are people still serving time in prisons for things that are completely legal and were unjustly illegal 20 years ago. Anyway, the assumption, and so we can borrow from their experience. This is why their experience is so important. Borrow from their experience. I was treated unknowingly. I was I didn't know how fucked up the system was. I was just saying, wait until the George Floyd thing. I was I'm just waiting for the fucking truth to come out. I don't have a dog in this fucking race. But then they came and treated me like a George Floyd. They came out and they're like, okay, our new project is pedigree white males. This is our new project. Mwah. What about you? Aren't most judges and lawyers white people? You sure you want to go down that fucking road? Are you sure about that? I even had an idea about and this would work if anybody from Douglas County wants to get rid of the fucking judges there, or you're just a local judge. Just bring up a rap sheet of all the black people they've convicted, and just print only the black people that they're on record as having convicted and put in jail, and just print it off and say, here you go. And do it right before election day. Judge Mark Simpson of Douglas County, here's a list of all the black people that he's put in jail, and then publish it. Guaranteed Mark Simpson's not going to be a judge after that. Guaranteed. This is the world you created. You're welcome. Thanks for nothing. Fucking faggot. Excuse me. Man, it's already been an hour. I didn't even have an itinerary. Oh, Meek. Let's finish off with the appropriate... Okay. Give me... Actually, you know what? We don't need Grok for this. We don't. Oh, and also thought waves. So, this is why there might be something to the tinfoil hat. So, first of all, the outlawing of lead paint. Because what is the most... Oh, gosh, I just got rid of Grok. Grok.com. Oh, fuck you. Fuck yeah. You know how... Because I'm over here by myself right now. I could summon people to come over here and start making a bunch of fucking noise. Like magic. By talking about something specific. I almost want to demonstrate my powers. But now that they're watching, because they're watching, it probably wouldn't work. Because that's what happens every fucking time. I'll start talking about, oh, the car that was here, it's gone now. I mentioned it on the stream, and magically the fucking car's gone. The car that was left here abandoned by a guy in the army who texted me. Oh, this might be how I summon them. Watch this. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck yeah. Okay, so the etymology of the word meek is from Middle English, related to Old English, meaning subtle, stealthy, possibly borrowing from Old Norse, soft, Proto-Germanic, soft, supple, and Proto-Indo-European, slick, slippery, Dutch. Holy shit. Humble, not boastful. Okay. As an adjective, meek is humble, not boastful, modest, meager, or self-effacing. And then there's a separate Did Jordan Peterson lie to us? Jordan Peterson had this whole bit where he was like, meek means someone who's strong enough to use a sword but keeps it sheathed, or something like that. That's what I mean when I say humble, not boastful, modest, meager, and restrained. Like you could. You're not. This is another thing I liked about his stuff. Even though he's an oil salesman, you're not harmless. There's a difference between kind and harmless. Like, it's important to have the ability and willingness to be a fucking monster, but to not do it. And I kind of think that's where I'm at. I did body slam William Prettyman. I picked his bitch ass up and threw him on a fucking ground. We were both like 20 years old, not even 20 years old, but still, he has the video, and he's ashamed of it because he's also a nigger. Okay, so this guy, whoever has this phone number, he was army guy he even wrote it down, I think. Okay. I don't know. At some point, he offered the car. He's like asking, like, trying to give me money and all this stuff. Like, I know there's nothing inherently or intrinsically wrong with being charitable. However, the nature of my, let's say, interactions with this individual in particular, and this is all, you know, it is now on record, was he's in the Army, first of all. There was a moment when somebody tried to slip. They use coins, guys. This is how. Be careful of the change you keep. This is how fuckered this shit is. So be careful of the, like, literally the coins in your pocket. Because this guy created a distraction, and a handful of change ended up in my possession. I fucking pay attention to what I have and don't have. And if I find, at this point, if I find a fucking penny that doesn't belong, I'm like, what? Where the fuck did that come from? And they fucking know this. They're like, why can't we get him? Why can't we? It's bad. So, hey, everybody, the CIA uses coins to track people. Coins. Sometimes it'll be a special coin, like the Israeli shekel that I had back when William Joseph Prettyman was in my possession, in my proximity. So when you have a special coin that is not a common coin that you're going to stumble across, be especially careful of those, because might be some micro fucking technology on the inside of it, and you are not going to figure it out until you melt it down. Anyway, what the fuck was I about to do? Meek. I think that's all I'm done. I think I'm done. What hath God wrought? What hath God wrought? What? The things you can do with a little bit of creativity. The first message ever sent, the first text message, and it wasn't text, it was Morse code, which is a language. Technically, it's English in another form. But this is a question you should be asking yourself about your technology as well. You should be asking this question about all things at all times. What in the fuck? What? What? Why? What? Why? Settle for nothing. Settle for nothing. I wish there was a way of making that the main fucking one. Can you? That's a... Oh, God, bye. Okay, bye. Okay, bye. Bye. What a fucking weirdo. What a fucking weirdo. Who does shit like this? What the fuck is that creep doing? I before E except after W.